can't do it, don't believe me, because you can't. When there are people that say, no, you know, you shouldn't really think about college, go somewhere else, you can't. When you're thinking, oh, I don't know about these grades, and I owe so much money because of my loans, and there's really no jobs out there anyways, you can. You can because the Cervantes did. I can tell you in my family, I was the first one to graduate with a baccalaureate degree. And for many years I was the only one with a master's degree. And you see, for many of our families, it might be our grandparents or our parents, we may not have gone to college. But don't you think for one moment that the greatest hope and dreams that our parents and our grandparents have, that you fully realize the dream of all of the opportunities that education has to offer you. Does that make sense? And that's why I'm here, is to talk about the past. Because back 30-some years ago, we didn't have the opportunities. And I can't believe the fact that I'm here in this wonderful, fantastic institution at Noche de Gala. And celebrating you, and celebrating our families, and celebrating the new era. And what is that new era? And let me talk a little bit about the future. It has to be through education. Your education is so important, and let me share with you why. There's two great changes that will happen between now and 2030. Number one is in healthcare. Now, I was appointed many years ago to Governor Palenti's Healthcare Cost Committee, and I've kept up with the economic analysis. And did you know Minnesota's healthcare cost, everybody in the state of Minnesota, was $30 billion in 2004. Now, the average rate of growth for the last 12 years is 7.4%. What do our healthcare costs in Minnesota look like by 2030? My friends, the healthcare costs in Minnesota could be as high as $230 billion. Economically, the gross domestic product, all of the goods and services produced in Minnesota, is $250 billion. But let me share with you some other statistics. The Latino community triples in size by 2030. All diverse groups grow by 77%. Do you know the fastest growing age group is? It's 85 and above. But here's the real concern I have. And I'm asking for your help. And I'll get to that in a moment. We potentially in Minnesota, by the Itasca report, or by the Minnesota Foundation of Private Colleges and Universities study, show that somewhere in the 2020s, we lose up to 350,000 jobs. Do you know why? Because we're not producing enough baccalaureate degree people. Now, I don't understand this, because I think about the great struggle of our grandparents, I think about the great struggle of our parents, and I think about the great contributions that you are making to your future and to Minnesota's future simply by getting an education. So there's urgency. We know by 2020, half of all educators in Minnesota retired. Now, how do we turn that around? If we simply graduate 5 to 10% more of our children every year, we'll be okay. If we accelerate the number of people that come to this fine institution and colleges and universities of Minnesota, colleges and universities, the University of Minnesota, the private college institutions, we can turn this around. So your contribution to the vitality of Minnesota's future must include education. Why? Because you have a great role to play. And this is what I want to share with you. One of the things is that CLUES is becoming now, I understand we're among the top 25 Hispanic nonprofit organizations in America by Hispanic business. I had no idea that we were that large. But I can share with you, we have a very large employment base, people that work at Unidos. And so, throughout the years, what I wanted to share with you are some tips. And this is a part of what your future is about. The things that they don't teach you in college to be successful as a world-class, effective professional, no matter what it is that you choose to do. And I want to introduce you to what's called the soft skills. What does that mean, soft skills? In employment services, that means your interpersonal skills. And do you know the number one reason why people are let go on the job? You know what it is? They can't get along with other people. Can't get along with other people. So that means, in the world of work, you have your degree, get a mentor. Number one, get a mentor. Write that down. Why? Mentorship is so critically important. Who's a mentor? Somebody that works at the company, maybe it's a family member who's been successful. They can help you understand the culture of work life, whether that's in the nonprofit sector, whether that's in la comunidad, whether that's in education, whether that's in government. A mentor can help you understand what do you need to do to be successful, first and foremost. Number two, study. I want to introduce to you this term, number two, lifelong learning. What does that mean? Lifelong learning means you never stop reading, you never stop pursuing your education. If you have the opportunity to go and advance your education, consider it. Studying is so important. In your field, in the great number, the wonderful varieties of education that you have here at this institution, an Associate of Arts degree, whether that's in human services, whether that's in business, whether that's in culinary sciences, no matter what, it's so critical to have a sense of advancing your education. So that's second and foremost. And number three, there's nothing like please and thank you. Having a sense of mindfulness is so important in being able to build a sense of what I would call your sphere of influence. Why is that important? Because it just starts with your education. And as you are graduating with your Associate of Arts degree, as you are looking to go into the world of work, or go into an area of specialty, or go into higher education, mentorship can make a huge difference. You know, I want to say that I remember when I graduated from my undergraduate degree, I had a great opportunity to work for a leadership development organization. I couldn't believe how fortunate I was. And I had a mentor, and my job was to help people to become successful through college, through high school, into the world of professional corporate America. But it didn't end there. And I thought, you know, I got to go back to school, because if I want to contribute to the betterment of society, I'm going to go back and get a master's degree. It was very tough, it was very competitive, and I was happy to do that. And I was among the first. Years later, I worked at the American Red Cross. I was a presidential scholar recipient from Elizabeth Dole, which allowed me to go what was called the Minnesota Executive Program for Advanced Strategic Leadership. And at the time, I was in the classroom with people who were going to be the next CEOs of major corporations. I was the only Latino in that class. But I didn't let that stop me. I studied, I read, I developed friendships, I was successful. And this is what the journey has to be about. And you know why? Because when we commit ourselves to making these advances, when we commit ourselves to furthering education, first and foremost, we help ourselves make those advancements. What I can share with you, your parents will be absolutely grateful. My mom, to this day, was a former Human Rights Commissioner for the state of Minnesota, working for Governor Rudy Purvich. Anytime I have a major success, I always call my mom. And at the same time, when I have a tough meeting, I always ask my mom, Mom, pray for me, okay?